Today I bring you 10 outstanding free plugins that honestly you don't want to miss out. Seriously, you have to try them at least once, and I'm sure that you will love more than one. I didn't want to make a 25 free plugins list or whatever. I wanted to offer you free tools that can have a lot of great value. So if you appreciate that, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and also consider supporting my content by joining my Patreon or my members page. Thank you in advance. The first plugin wasn't meant to be free. This is Spacer by Spectral Plugins. Sadly, they went out of business, so all of their plugins are now free, and this one is the one I like the best. As the name suggests, it's a space designer playground. You can use 2 delays and 3 reverbs to build many types of sound. These are a typical delay, a grain delay, a reverb, a convolution device, and a grain reverb. And besides that, you have some utilities and even a chorus.
We're coming alive, you can't stop us now. We're feeling alive, never coming down.
The thing is, you can activate the ones that you want to use, and you can change their order, so you build different chains. The results you can get are a ton. Not only that, it has randomization options, which I find are really fun to use.
Into paradise, you and I, we will reach across the sky.
So yeah, test it out and build your own unique spaces. The next one is a very simple to use synthesizer, which can give really complex sounds. It's called Blocks by Synth. Basically, you have 5 columns where you can put different blocks. These blocks are an oscillator, noise engine, filters, effects like drive, flanger, chorus, phaser, delay and reverb. And you also can add different modulation. The thing is, as the blocks include effects, you can have 5 different sounds with, well, different effects, different filters, and so on. So the end result will be very complex. But still, because of its simplicity, I find it to be also really good to teach about synthesizers. Next up we have Hamburger. It's a distortion effect. Let's start with the big distortion knob. We have a saturation parameter, we can change the bias, we can fold it and add the diode character. But if you click here on the top, you will see that we actually have 5 different types of distortion, each one with its own unique sound. And the matrix distortion is the one that's more different and more experimental. Now the thing is, we also have other effects that will transform the sound even further, like a nice compressor that can be set to multiband or mid-side, an all-pass filter which can also be changed to grunge. Then we can add noise. It's great to have a clipper. The emphasis is basically an EQ, and in utility you find your mix knob and whatnot. It's great to have a free distortion that goes that deep, and it sounds excellent. Now, speaking of distortion, I cannot leave behind Kilohertz Shaper. It offers a wide variety of complex and simple shapes, and not only that, you can draw your own curves. You can even save them if you like the result. Next up is yet another excellent free synthesizer. Seriously, it's crazy how many great developers are making amazing tools for free. If you remember my video about the best synthesizers for beginners, I mentioned Charlatan 2. Well, coincidentally, not so long after I published that video, they launched Charlatan 3, and this one adds a lot more complexity to the synth. On the surface, it's a 2-oscillator synthesizer with a lot of nice effects and also many modulation options. But it's so much more than that, because as you see, each oscillator has actually 2 shapes, which you can mix together, or you can make it so one ring modulates the other, phase modulates the other, or frequency modulates the other. Because of that, you can also change the phase and the ratio of each of these waveforms. Not only that, you can actually edit and create your own waveforms, similar to something like Viral or whatnot, just that this is not a wavetable. Still, that's pretty good, and it has the option of modifying the waveform in an additive manner. What's crazy is that each harmonic can have its own specific shape. For instance, you can set it to be a saw. So each harmonic is a saw. The next plugin was released recently by Sixth Sample. This is Spot On, a free Autotune alternative. It doesn't have a pitch editor, but let me tell you, it's one of the best Autotune alternatives I've heard. So definitely, if you want an automatic tuner, go for this one. Besides, you can select the scale or the notes that you want to stick to. I want to be a great singer, but my voice is always out of tune. Speaking of tools that are meant for production and mixing, ZL Equalizer is a pretty good Pro Q alternative. Now, I know we have TDR Nova, but this one has a totally different workflow, so test it out and choose the one you like the best. Not only that, this one has up to 16 different bands, and honestly, that is more than you will need every time.
Where'd you go when I needed you? Why'd you never say the truth? There is darkness in your mind.
Not only that, it also has a sidechain input, so you can trigger the dynamics with other sounds. Next up is another synthesizer that I find to be pretty unique. This is MS2. This is MS2 by Mensa Angelo Fazzari. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a 3-oscillator synthesizer with a very interesting UI. Some people may find this a little bit cluttered, and it has standard things like a filter and whatnot, but it has many different parameters that makes it unique. This may need its own video to explain everything that it does, but let's pay attention to this bottom part right here, which is an audio rate modulation matrix, if you want to call it like that. Basically, this will apply different amounts of phase modulation or frequency modulation to the sounds, and you can also apply feedback at modulation and many other features. It has a delay and reverb, which is always welcome on a synthesizer, and a pretty nice arpeggiator with different rhythms and even a chord progression arpeggiator. Now, completely opposite of experimental and complex, we have GR8 by Future Tones. Correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the architecture, even the UI and the name, I suspect this is an emulation of the Jupiter 8. We have 2 oscillators that also have cross-mode modulation, a bunch of different modulations, and a pretty nice filter. Not only that, it has 6 different effects, including an EQ. The sound quality is great. Making something as simple as a filter sweep can lead to an excellent fat result. So yeah, I find this synthesizer straight to the point, but gives a lot of excellent quality results. Now, next up, it's actually a tape emulation, and one that sounds great. This is the Kiss of Shame. Supposedly this plugin has quite a history, because it was going to be released, it was never released, then someone saved the code and whatnot. But the thing is, it sounds excellent. It says that this is the only tape emulation that recreates all the imperfections of actual tapes. And honestly, I love how it sounds. It's a kind of tape sound that I haven't listened in other plugins. You have many parameters to change the tape, the quality, add more artifacts and whatnot, but the most important part is the Kiss of Shame knob, which is represented with this cross that you can actually invert. It adds a unique character to many sounds, so definitely it's a powerful creative tool, and I believe this one is one of my favorites of this list.
It's the time to say nothing at all, no words, to lose control. Nobody's going to know that we lose control. It's not my time, I'm just feeling right.
As you can see, I wanted to show many different plugins. These are not the most typical ones, but I find them to be excellent, so go and test them. Let me know your opinions in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.